Should you start up or buy your new business? The path to entrepreneurial success is wide. There are all kinds of intersections and offshoots that form millions of combinations, and no one path is going to be perfect for everyone. In fact, that's a large part of entrepreneurship's attraction for those who feel compelled to take on the business ownership journey. But, if you hope to make it to the final destination, success, you can't just run off blindly down any path that looks interesting. Starting and running a business requires intelligent planning and strategy. So let's take a look at one of the first important decisions every aspiring entrepreneur needs to make to illustrate how this kind of strategic decision should be made. For most people, when they first consider the idea of owning their own business, the image in their mind is of a brand new startup that's been built from scratch. However, once the planning and strategy period gets underway, many of these same entrepreneurs end up exploring and eventually settling on purchasing an existing business or franchise instead. The pros of starting from scratch. Nearly complete autonomy. When you're building a startup from scratch, you're painting on a blank canvas and you're essentially free to do whatever you want or need to do to make it work. Of course, every startup founder is only as free as his or her investors and co-founders will allow, hence the nearly. No mistakes to fix. When creating a brand new company, you won't be bogged down by resolving any lingering issues left by the previous owners. No sullied reputations to boost, no brand image problems to fix, and no long-held grudges to deal with from personnel. Greater potential for a breakout success. In most cases, the new businesses that appear on the world scene and make a huge splash are startups. Investors and consumers alike find startups to be more intriguing, so these businesses get more attention, and when that intrigue is combined with a stellar product and killer marketing, it's a great formula for success. The cons of starting from scratch. Funding can be a nightmare. Unless you're already independently wealthy or you're willing and able to struggle through a tough initial bootstrapping phase, a startup is going to require significant funding. Investors exert strong control. Although building a startup sounds like it should be all about the lone entrepreneur going with her gut, the truth is the founder of a startup must make decisions in line with the requirements laid out by their investors. It's a lot of work. Of course, running any business is a lot of work, there's no getting around that. But successful startups are notorious for demanding 100-plus-hour work weeks from their founders, sometimes for years. The pros of buying an existing business or franchise. You can hit the ground running. When you buy an existing business or buy into a franchise operation, a lot of the hazardous and difficult stages of a brand new startup are already behind you. In the best scenarios, you can take over ownership and roll through your first month with profit on the books that's equal to or greater than the previous owners. You already have an established brand. Buying a company or franchise means paying to take over ownership of an established brand. While marketing and branding will likely still be necessary, you're not starting from scratch with a name no one's ever heard of, and a product or service no one's ever bought. Scaling the business is also generally faster and easier. The cons of buying an existing business or franchise. You're stuck with the previous owner's mistakes. Whether it's a pile of unpaid debt, a host of customer service problems, or a shop full of poorly maintained equipment, the previous owner's mistakes are now your problem. If it's a single business, not a franchise, they're selling for a reason. This can be tough because there are hundreds of different reasons why someone may choose to sell their business. But if they've chosen to sell because they have reason to believe the company or the industry are heading downhill, they're not likely to share that with a prospective buyer. Business valuation is essentially an educated guess. While experts who value companies for a living are very good at what they do and are probably spot on far more often than they're not, determining a company's value is akin to predicting the weather. No matter how knowledgeable and thorough you are, there are simply too many factors to expect perfection every time. That means you may find after the fact that a business you've purchased isn't worth what you paid for it. These are just examples, of course. An exhaustive list of pros and cons for this important decision would probably rise into the hundreds, but it's enough to get a smart entrepreneur started in comparing two viable methods of obtaining a business of their own. Looking to fund your business? Better call Sal. If you learned something from this video, write "Better Call Sal" in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We also sell premium and fashionable watches for men and women. Visit our collection here, salswatches.com. Don't forget to pick up your office goods and accessories at salshomeoffice.com.